code. Now, this is a very common phenomenon that happens when you're writing code. You will kind of get stuck a lot of times and a lot of places as well. And what happens is next is the important thing. You might spend hours racking your brain to find a solution, and you might not still find a solution. And this can go on for a long time if you are the kind of a guy who's persistent about it. But if you're not persistent, obviously you might leave it in like maybe a half an hour or something, but you will still try to solve the problem. Now, one of the important thing is like how do you overcome such scenarios? So here I'm going to talk about those 5 steps that can help you overcome the problem in one shape or form. So let's dive in. The first one is just take a break. You have been racking your brain for like maybe past 30 minutes or an hour or more, even more than that. So the worst way of doing to solve this is just take a break. Take a break of 15 to 20 minutes. Hopefully, if you take a break, instead of scrolling on the social media, you might just go out for a walk or listen to some soothing music or do some other activity that is not related to being present in front of a screen. What that does is that it would activate the diffuse mode of thinking in the brain, which would kind of connect different neurons patterns, which it would not do it when you're focusing on the problem at that point of time. And this is one of the ways that I think even Einstein had used when he would go out and take a nap during the work because and would with a timer so that he would kind of work. He would wake up around 15 to 20 minutes of time. So what that does is it would as I mentioned, it would activate the diffuse mode and it would give you different ideas or different perspectives of looking at the same problem. And it might just help solve the problem. And a lot of times, that is one of the things where like Archimedes found the solution when he was taking a bath. That is your diffuse mode of thinking in practice. The next approach that you can do is find similar code in your existing code. There can be a similar code or similar patterns that you can use. This you just needs a little bit of research around what your problem is and see how other people have solved the problem in your code or in other people's code. So you can just go through it, look up their solution, and find if you can fit that solution into your problem and whether that works. That's one of the most effective ways to do that. The next is you might ask yourself, is there another way of solving a problem? What happens is you get into loop when you're trying to solve a problem. You try different steps and it doesn't work, then you again come back to the same step, and then again and again it just goes on. So sometimes it's useful to take a step back and ask yourself, is there a different way of looking at it? Or you may even ask, do you need this to be solved in this particular way? Can this be solved in a different way? So that you can become unstuck. So that's the next way. Now, the next approach that you can do is just simply go back to basics. Sometimes just going back and reading the documentation can give you ideas. It has happened a lot of times with me as well. So, what I would do is just go and read the documentation and I would find a line that I would have skimmed through, I would have gone through, but I wouldn't have understood it as deeply as now because now I am facing that problem and then I would understand that line deeply and I would understand the implications of it. So sometimes reading that document, going back to the document and reading it just makes that difference. And last but not the least is simply ask a friend. Yeah, that's the easiest way. You can kind of go and ask a friend. Now, before going to ask a friend, what you can also do is you can do what we saw talk about is a rubber ducking in troubleshooting approach, or where what you do is you just go and talk. You keep a rubber duck on your desk and you talk to the rubber desk, verbalizing the problem. What that does is when you're verbalizing the problem, you open your mind to different ways of thinking and different ways of approaching the problem, and it might just resolve the problem. And yeah, even if that doesn't work, or what you can actually go and do is you can ask a friend. They might help you troubleshoot it, or they might already have a solution, or they might have different ideas that you can incorporate in your code to make it work. So that's all from your bye.